Okay, let's now take a look at how we can compare this field to this field in a reactive form. Now, there's no out-of-the-box validator to achieve this. There are occasions where we'll need to create our own custom validator in our code, and this is one of those examples. And we'll create a validator so we can compare one thing to another thing and make sure it matches. So below the initialize form, I'm just going to create a new function, and we'll call it match values. And we'll take in as a parameter match2, and this is going to be the field that we're comparing to. And this is going to return a validator fn, a validator function, which is what we're expected to have inside the array of validators, or a single validator. And we'll open the curly brackets, and we need to return from this a control, which is of type abstract control, which comes from Angular Forms and is the base class for a form control. So we return that, and this is a function, so we're returning a function which takes a control as a parameter. So then we add another arrow, or we add an arrow in this case, and open curly brackets, and then we're going to return the control, and this is the one that we're working with, so we need to get the control's value, and we want to compare it to the control.parent, and we want to say get to get the value of that control, which is the match2, what we're passing in as a parameter to this function. And then we can specify value to get its value, and then we'll use a ternary, and if it does match, then we return null from this because that's passing validation. Otherwise, then we open curly brackets and we give our validator a name of is matching. It can be anything, this, and I'm going to specify true. And if we return true, then that means that these controls do not match, and therefore they are not equal. And then in order to use our new validator, we add it to our confirm password validators array, and we'll specify this dot match values, and then we specify which control it is we want to match against, and we specify the password, which is the input we're comparing this to. So if we go and test this functionality, let's head back and open our register form again. Then if I type in test into the first password and then start typing test, and once I type the T, then the form status is now valid. And if I take out a character, it's invalid. If I type in test again, it's valid. And if I keep typing, we go back to invalid. All well and good, but supposing the user decides to change the other field, because we've got really one-way comparison here. And if the user starts typing in this field, then we've got two different passwords. We've got test1 here and test, but the form status is valid. Now clearly that's not ideal. So in order to do this, or to make this work for both sides, then we can subscribe to changes in an input as well. So inside the initialize form, one approach we could take is we could say list.registerForm.controls, and then we can specify the control we want to listen to effectively, and then we can subscribe to its value changes. So I'll say value changes and subscribe, and then in the next we'll add the function, and we'll say list.registerForm.controls, and we want to observe the confirm password, and we want to say update value and validity. And what this will effectively do is anytime this password input changes, then we're going to call a validator for the confirm password. So effectively what this means now, if I go back to the register form and I try and reproduce that behavior, I'll say test for the first password and then test for the second password. We get the form status of valid, and then if I go and make a change to the password, then this time we get the form status of invalid. And if I go back and put the correct password in, or the same password in, then we're getting the validator on both sides now. So that's how we add a custom validator for our usage. But it wouldn't be overly professional to use JSON formatted output to tell the user if their form is valid or not, and we would typically display that on the form itself. And we'll take a look at how we provide that kind of feedback to the user next.